On today's episode of Building Dreams Together, I'm joined by someone who has lived a life with intention as a father, a grandfather, adventurer, and a leader. Mike isn't just successful, he's someone who believes in giving back. He serves as a board member of Always Choose Adventures, helping people reconnect with nature, challenge themselves, and rediscover life beyond the scenes. Today, we'll talk about family, legacy, resilience, and what it means to keep choosing adventure and purpose at any age. Welcome to Building Dreams Together, a podcast about connection, courage, and the daily actions that turn dreams into reality. Whether you're building your dream, rebuilding after a storm, or just looking for inspiration to take the next step, you're in the right place. This is Building Dreams Together. Mike Goldblatt is more than just my guest here. Mike is my son's father-in-law, so a very special person in my life. And what I've come to learn is that Mike and I have a lot of things in common. Besides our children and grandchildren, we have a lot in common. Because Mike is now involved in an organization, as you can see, ACA, Always Choose Adventures. And Always Choose Adventures is, well, Mike, I'm going to let you talk about what it is.
Great. So I was going through a pretty tough period in my life about 3 years ago. And I met a person online. I was actually struggling with oxygen problems. I wasn't getting enough blood oxygen in me. And had other various physical illnesses, which affected me in the mental part of my health. And so I was in a pretty down spot. And on a Facebook group, I met a person named Shantell who was also oxygen deprived. And we bonded online about our various issues and talked about how we could improve on that. Anyway, I became friends with her online and found out she had this organization called Always Choose Adventures. And slowly I got involved in it over the course of time. That was 3 years ago. And now I'm the president of the board, and it's a huge part of my life now. So.
Yeah. And so what do you do? What is Always Choose Adventures?
So Always Choose Adventures, ACA, is a nonprofit. And what we do is our main goal is to get kids in the outdoors off their couches, off their phones, and not just kids, but people, especially people who are handicapped physically, but also anyone is welcome to join the group for outdoor adventures. We will teach people how to camp, how to backpack, how to climb a mountain, just anything having to do with the great outdoors, and all are welcome. And we have a camp, which we can talk about.
Yeah. And you're an avid fisherman, fly fisherman.
Right. So my lifelong career was as an arborist. I'm unretired now, and I'm back in the business, just very part-time with a former employee of mine. But once I retired from the tree world, my retirement career was as a fly fishing guide. And previous to being a guide, I also spent about 40 years recreationally fly fishing. So yeah, I have I've been outdoors my whole life, and I love the outdoors, and I want to introduce it to whoever's interested in getting outdoors.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think getting kids outdoors is such an important thing because everybody's busy on their phone. Kids today, you recognize that, and you can see it. I mean, we share grandchildren.
Yeah,
we have 2 grandchildren. Sometimes when I see them on their tablet,
oh my gosh, yeah, they're bad about that. We don't have to get into that too much, but yeah, they spend too much time. But I'm not their parent, so I can't make all the rules.
Right,
but yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah, but you brought the kids up to the camp. You brought them up to the
Yeah. Last summer, well, you and Meredith came up to the camp for our grand opening 2 summers ago, and then last summer, I actually had 26 of me and Sue's closest relatives there for a whole weekend.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of them said it was one of the best weekends of ever. So, we have about seven campsites up there, and the rest of the people are able to just camp under the stars or whatever. But 26 of us up there, and campfire and doing ATV rides, which is a big deal up there. We can talk about that some.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had a lot of people up there, friends.
What is your hope? Like, what are the kids when they walk away, when they leave the camp? What do you want them to take?
Well, we get to hear that at the end of these hikes. Like last week, for example, we had 9 kids from La Luz Micro School. It's down here in Denver, and we work with them a lot. They're one of our real closest collaborators. So the 9 kids, me and the 9 kids and one of their teachers climbed the 10,000-foot mountain, Mount Pisgah, which our camp is at 9,300 feet. So we gained 700 foot of elevation, and we got to the summit. And some of the kids were complaining because they're used to being on their phones. And I kept pushing them. One kid threw up about 100 yards from the top, and we decided to push on. But when we were done, a lot of the kids' reaction was, this is amazing. I couldn't believe those views of Mount Evans and Grays and Torreys. And, so we get that feedback that's really heartwarming when they get outdoors finally.
Yeah. Yeah. What flashed through my mind was what Sean wrote in his book, which is the theme of what my foundation, the I Believe in Me Foundation, is all about, is giving kids an experience they didn't think is possible,
Right.
that they couldn't have.
Right.
And so that's where I think our connection really is deeper in giving kids that experience. Me through the
Right.
I Believe in Me program, teaching kids that with their thoughts, words, and actions, if they take a daily step in alignment with their goals and dreams, anything's possible.
Right.
And it's just reinforcing that kind of message, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you're doing, there's a compliment there.
Yeah,
You know.
I just have most people, I wouldn't say everyone, but most people love kids. I just have this really soft spot in my heart. Sometimes people ask me, why do I do this? Because we have troubles with trying to get money donated. There's problems that happen interpersonally with different people. And why do you keep doing that, Mike? And it's like, I just love kids, and I just want to work with kids, and that's my thing.
Yeah, I just did this. I release a weekly video on this Bible class that I'm taking on Wednesdays, and this week's was all about the why.
The why.
Getting in touch with your why.
Right.
Why do I do what I'm doing? Why do you do what you're doing? You don't need to know the how. The how will come, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're working through that now, how you're going to get.
Right.
Well, I'm going to open up the segue into, like, you're working on a grant right now. You just, that you shared with me earlier about to help
improve the roads,
and get access and to pay for the kids to come up, because there's no cost for kids to do this.
There's no cost for kids to do this. The schools we work with will donate to us,
right?
But to the kids, no.
So you have to raise money to do that.
Right.
But what drives you to do it is the why. Why you just said, I love kids.
Right. That's my why.
I wake up every day.
Yeah.
And inside this program, I called it Building Dreams Together. You're living your dream. You're living your why right now.
Right.
Is the way I see it. I don't know if you've ever looked at it that way.
Not in that terminology, but yeah, I have looked at it that way in a sense.
Yeah.
Because I love what I do. And, I had a good career. I made enough money to retire at 56 years old. And my whole thing is, the kids aside, they're a part of it. I'm so fortunate. I live in a great country. I'm healthy. It doesn't make any sense to not give back. It makes no sense when people say, why do you spend all this time? Why don't you?
I love it.
My friends are still trying to make money at 75 years old, and it doesn't make sense to me. I just want to give it back and not take it in anymore.
We are so in alignment.
Yeah.
With what you just said, because that's where I am. I'm 69 years old.
Yeah.
It was a few years ago where I said, sure, I have a lot of years left in me. I have a lot of energy, and I can go out and try to create a lot more wealth than whatever I've accumulated. But I got to a point like you did. I have enough. It's enough to retire. I can live comfortably, but now it's my turn to share and to give back and to help others and to do it. And some people think I'm doing this to make money. This isn't, there's no money. I don't pay myself 10 cents. There's nothing that comes to me for doing this other than the gratification that I get. And I get a tremendous amount. When I see a child move, or I see a parent move, or I see anyone who's inside of my sphere take on, grow from it. It's so rewarding. I have 50 girls now that are starting a year-long commitment.
How did you recruit those? How did you come to meet these 50?
The 50 girls are in Africa.
Oh, okay.
And they're from a woman by the name of Nakinti Nufuru, who is helping people there. And so there, it's a totally different, they're going to have completely different goals than what we do here.
Okay.
But these are 50 girls. We put 200 girls through the I Believe in Me program there so far. And these are 50 girls from that 200 who are willing to make the commitment to go forward and to say, I'll do this for a year. And we want to track
their progress.
We want to track the impact that we can have, so we can show the world what is going to happen, what the results are of doing that.
Oh, that's
part of that. I mean, I wish they were here. I'd bring them up to your,
to the camp. To the camp. And I didn't even mention much about the camp yet. We'll get to that part. But you reminded me when you said about, why do we do this without monetary gain? And it made me think just this morning, you heard me talking to my brother real quick before we started about Shantell loved your letter. So we're writing letters to try to get this $200,000 grant. We're trying to write letters how we support Camp ACA and all that. And so the reason I told my brother that she loved the letter was she sent me a text earlier that said, your brother's letter was my paycheck for this week. And for a second, I didn't know what she was talking about, but it took 2 seconds. And that's her monetary reward, that my brother would take the time to write a letter to try to support her dreams and her goals and mine as well. So that's really hits home as far as why do you do it without money? That's why. That was her paycheck.
I love it. I love it. What do you want? So talk about the camp. What do you want people to know?
Shantell, who is the executive director and founder, started ACA about 11 years ago. And what it used to be was, and I didn't know her at this time, I've only been involved for 3 years, but at that time, she lived in Littleton. They would meet at a park or someplace and take kids on an adventure, wherever it might be, Waterton Canyon or whatever. They would go to the Great Sand Dunes and camp out. But now we have a home as of 2 summers ago. It's Camp ACA. It's between Idaho Springs and Central City. You've been up there for our grand opening. And it's at 9,300 feet elevation. It's off-grid, so there's no electricity. Everything's solar-powered or generator-powered. Very much in the country. I mean, off the beaten path, way off the path. So at the camp, now that we have a home base, and Shantell lives there, we bring kids up from various schools. La Luz is just one of them. We work with Denver Children's Home, where those children are battered or abused, and those, they come up and get away from their problems and their boredom here in the city, and we can take them on beautiful ATV rides. We were doing that during the fall colors. We would go on these amazing drives, and they just couldn't believe what they were seeing. So it's our home base, and we're having a wedding up there this summer. And it's just a great retreat for the kids, especially.
I love it.
We have 4-wheel drive wheelchairs, so we bring people up who are not able to get around, and we have these wheelchairs that are all terrain, so we can push them around and they can get to see things they would never get to see otherwise.
Wow. Yeah. So is someone like Evie, can she do that as a quadriplegic?
I talked to Evie about all of this, and I never really heard back from her, but I would like to readdress that. Maybe you could connect us again. Because I met her at that golf tournament that you were at.
Yeah.
And we talked
that was her golf tournament.
Right.
That was her. She was raising money for her foundation.
And Evie and I found all these connections we had. We had like 3 different mutual friends from different walks of life that we just couldn't believe. But yeah, someone like her would be a perfect example of someone who could come up and we just get her some fresh air and get around.
It would be great.
Yeah.
I think it would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back in your life.
Oh yeah.
So turning points.
Yeah, I think a lot
challenges.
of this stuff that I'm doing now was seeded back then. You know, there was a seed planted in my head. So the short version of my saga as a youth in Brooklyn, where you also grew up, another connection, right?
Yeah.
We were a mile or two apart. So when I was 13, my mom suddenly passed away. I still can remember, you know, on a cold December night. I mean, she got the flu. It got worse. The ambulance came, and then she was dead 3 days later. And my whole perfect, you know, leave it to Beaver, father knows best world.
Yeah.
What did you say?
13 years old.
13 years old. You know, the whole perfect life. Mom and dad were home. Dad worked. Mom didn't. The two kids were great at school, me and my brother. And then she died. And then 10 months later, my dad died of cancer. So, I mean, that just
How old was your brother?
he's 2 years older than me. So I was 13. I was 14 when my dad passed. He was 16. And believe it or not, we lived in our childhood home by ourselves for 2 years. Now, if that happened today, social services would take my uncle away, you know, who let us do that. But in 1969, 70, it happened. I mean, so we lived there by ourselves. We had someone come by and would get our grocery shopping and cook us dinner and leave. And aside from that, there was no adults in the house.
Wow.
And then my brother, who was a top student, full scholarship to Columbia University, went off to Manhattan to Columbia. And when he did that, I wasn't going to be there by myself. I finally had some cousins take me in up in Rockland County. And I spent my junior and senior years of high school in the suburbs, which I never really adjusted to too well. Being a city kid, it was all right, but I got through those 2 years.
Do you remember what it was like? I mean, here you are, two kids bringing up.
Yeah.
You're playing, you're your own parents.
Yeah,
I mean,
basically
how-
we were.
Yeah.
We were pretty mature kids, okay? So that was one factor. And the fact that it was 50-something years ago and no one was telling you couldn't do that, at least as far as I remember, no one.
Do you remember what you told yourself every day?
No.
How you got through it?
No. I think what happens with kids, I've seen it with kids that I work with now and was with me, is you are able to block out trauma. You just, the way I recall it is I just said, that didn't happen. You know, I'm going to ignore it. And believe it or not, you get somewhat ostracized at school. Not so much ostracized, but ignored. Because when my classmates in 7th, 8th grade, they're not mature yet. So they're just like, I was the weird kid whose both parents were dead. And, you know, it was a little bit of that going on.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm not mature enough to deal with it. So I think I just blocked it out. I don't think I grieved about my parents till I was in my 50s.
Wow.
I had it that far blocked out.
Right.
It was so traumatic that it had to go deep into the closet.
Right.
That's how I recall. And then I went to college.
Yeah.
You know, I was a horrible college student, just partied, got into drugs and drinking, which was probably my adult version of blocking it out.
Yeah.
Okay. So I blocked it out with drugs and alcohol,
Yeah.
mostly drugs, and went through that period in my 20s. And, well, not in my 20s, in my late teens, because I flunked out by the time I was 20, decided I was going to
Still living in New York.
This was up in the Hudson Valley in New Paltz, State University in New York. You know, totally flunked out. I don't know if I got 3 credits the whole time I was there, and decided at 20 years old to strike out on my own and just move to Colorado just because I heard it was amazing and I wanted to get away from all that darkness that I had lived. Anywhere's got to be better than my parents dying, being in drugs, flunking out of college. So why not? Why not get in my 68 Chevy and drive to Colorado, and never left.
Wow. If today's conversation inspires you, please like it, subscribe, and share it with someone you love. Now.
In 1977, Jimmy Carter was president. He had a program called CETA, stood for Comprehensive Employee Training Act. And it basically was like if you were unemployed for a long enough period of time, it put me to work at the Forest Service, a federal program. So I qualified for being unemployed for a pretty long time because I was still in that phase. I was working off the books, construction, under the table, but I could show I was unemployed. So I got onto the U.S. Forest Service and then eventually the State Forest Service, learned about tree cutting, learned about forestry, and after 2 years of that, I started my own business with $200 for a chainsaw and built it up slowly over the years where it became, I was employing 15 to 20 people at the peak of my business. So I grew it into a very strong, business.
Right.
Yeah.
Tree business.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So,
and I always felt like, the only reason I had no skills, I learned how to cut trees, but I had no skills at all as a business person. But what I did was I went to work every day because I knew if I didn't really apply myself now that I was not a druggie anymore, if I applied myself and worked hard every day and answered every phone call that came in, that I'd be successful. And doing that for long enough, it made it happen because I had no applicable skills except cutting a tree down.
right. But you put one foot in front of the other every
day.
Every day.
Yeah.
With a vision in mind.
Yeah.
With a dream.
With a dream in mind. And it came true. It came true. And to this day, I have employees who still really like me. And that's the biggest compliment from my business career. I'm friends. Well, I just went to work for one of my former employees, and that's what I'm doing now. But other ones still, so I must have been a pretty good boss, and that helped too, keeping employees.
Right. What's the message to someone like our grandkids?
Like our grandkids?
What would you tell a child that's, our grandkids' ages? 10 to 13, 14, and what message do you want to drive home to them?
Yeah.
About living life.
Right. From my perspective, well, first of all, I don't necessarily think you have to go to college, okay? It's a good idea if that's what you want. Like using our grandkids as an example, I see Maya being a great student and being whatever she wants to be, probably a college student.
Well, I think she wants to be a pediatrician.
She does, but that could change from 12 years old. Right. Everyone wants to be a veterinarian. Every girl wants to be a veterinarian or a pediatrician, right? And she could. She's, and just using our grandkids for a second as an example.
Right.
And Jack is totally different. Jack, if I had to predict, Jack is going to have high school level education, and that's not a bad thing anymore in this world. College is incredibly expensive, but he might go on to college. I don't know. He's a very smart kid. I'm just saying he might just have high school level. Right. He might get a college degree or two, but I see him being in an active career and maybe an outdoorsy career if I had any influence, just because that's what I do. Yeah. But I see both of them being very successful. But our grandkids aside, because, we're biased there.
Yeah, okay.
The advice, I guess the first thing that pops into my mind is avoid being, avoid drugs.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have a problem with marijuana. It's legal. You've been in the business.
Yeah.
I've been in the business on the consumer end.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I don't have a problem with that, but yeah, don't bog your life down. I wasted like 5-10 years of my life. So don't do that, and just keep your head to the grindstone. Whatever your dream is, which is what you're all about, whatever your dream is, just stay focused to that. Whether it's being a plumber or whether it's being, a cardio doctor, right. Cardiologist. Whatever it is, just find your dream and follow it.
Find your passion, whatever you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And live it, and live that kind of a dream. You mentioned the word dreams and I think of dreams and goals. And to me, the dream and the goal is two different things. A goal is something you set.
Right.
And what I'm trying to pass on is a dream is something you live.
Right.
You live it. Live the dream as it. Right. So whatever goal you set, live it as it is. I did this little thing and I was talking about a kid like Jack's age,
Yeah.
being on a little league team. I didn't talk about soccer, but it could be
Right.
Jack playing soccer.
Right.
And the goal would be to win the season tournament championship,
Right.
right? But the dream is to be the best soccer player.
Right. Right.
He could be it today, live
Yeah.
that dream today as if you won that goal.
Yeah.
And just go out there and play your heart out and put your passion and put your
Right.
into doing it every day. You know?
Yeah.
That's a message that I kind of
Yeah.
am trying to impart.
Right. Like the expression everyone says, how you doing? Oh, living the dream. I can actually say that and not be like being sarcastic,
Right.
which is a joy to be able to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is what I do. I say, I'm
Yeah.
living my dream
Yeah.
right now. Doing this podcast with
Yeah.
you is living my dream.
Yeah.
The goal is to get all these kids and families involved in the program.
Right.
That's a goal of mine. I
Right.
want to make a difference in
Right.
their lives.
Right.
I want to make a difference in as many lives as we can touch.
But you're making a difference in your own life. See, that's another thing people ask me. It's like you're doing this all for the kids. And honestly, I do it all for the kids. But what I get back, I get as much out of it as one of those kids, in my opinion.
Oh, more.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe.
The self gratification.
Yeah.
Is it ego? I don't know. Maybe
There's some of that in
there's
there,
ego
probably.
involved, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's bigger than that.
Yeah. So I went to the graduation for the La Luz school last May, and I got to know some of those kids. And, you could say you don't, but you always have your favorites, right? I've been with these kids a bunch of times, and Olive was one of my favorites, right? So I'm at her graduation, her 8th grade graduation. And we're at this, like eating some snacks after the ceremony. And she hands me, I'm going to cry now. She hands me a card telling me how much I meant to her.
You influenced her.
I'm going to cry now if I say anything more about it. And that's what I get out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You made a difference.
Yeah.
You made a difference
her life.
in someone's life.
Yeah.
And as she goes through life, she's going to take that gift that you gave her.
Yeah.
And she's going to pass it forward.
Mm-hmm.
And that's even the greater gift.
Better than a paycheck. I mean, a check somebody hands you that you can buy groceries with.
Yeah.
To me, unless you need those groceries.
Well, yeah, at our stage of life,
right.
Where we are today, it's better than the paycheck.
Yeah, right.
And I understand that young people today need to make the paycheck.
Oh, absolutely.
But the tools that we're teaching, that you're teaching, getting people outside, giving them a sense of adventure and accomplishment and newality, and what I'm teaching, some life skills, I think, in the SEL world, if you will, social emotional learning world.
Okay.
And the tools to actually accomplish what they want by, one word is consistency. It's consistency. What you did to build your business, it was consistent.
It was.
And what I'm doing is consistency. It's giving that gift of consistency so that they know that that's what it takes to make a difference. That's what it takes to overcome any kind of a challenge that we have.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would, I know you and I had talked about trying to figure out a way to complement each other's work.
We finally have some momentum at ACA, in other words, financially, and good things happening because we've been doing so much good in the neighborhood up there. You saw the neighborhood. It's very rural, and now we're getting support from neighbors where before they didn't really like all the traffic and all the stuff. But we're getting momentum as far as grants, donations, and just, good vibes up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you keep doing good work. You're making a difference in people's lives. You're doing it on a daily, consistent basis, spreading the message, having kids go through the program.
Yeah.
It's going to pay off. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
Doing that kind of work, living that with your, the phrase I use is that with your thoughts, words, and actions applied daily in alignment with your goals and dreams, anything's possible. You're doing that.
Yeah.
And you're living it, I'm living it. And that's how it happens.
Yeah. I was thinking, I'm 70, you're 69, and I can't even, it's hard for me to even say out loud that I'm 70.
Yeah.
I still feel like I'm like 28, and except my body doesn't feel that way. But even though it's weird to say I'm 70, I am. And it's like, to me, right now is the best part of my life. Right now. I don't even want to travel. I mean, I've traveled a lot in my life. Sue's not a big traveler, and it's great. I don't want to be anywhere but what I'm doing right now. I'm working 10 or 15 hours a week doing something I love, which is the tree business. And with none of the headaches. All I do is consult and do some sales work, and then, you know, ACA is the other big part of my life. I play music, and just life is just so good at 70. I wish I wasn't 70.
Yeah,
You know,
I get it.
you know, I feel so much. I don't feel. I am so much wiser than when I was 20 or 30 or 40. We're pretty wise people. Not so much you and I, but I mean, we are. But I mean, 70-year-old people, we've lived longer.
Yeah, we've lived longer. We've gained experiences. We have
Right.
a lot of wisdom to share.
We do. And it's
Yeah,
just a great time in my life, having gone through all the stuff I just talked about, and then working my butt off all those other decades, 40 years.
Yeah.
And that was fine. I liked my work, but this is like the best time. And if I could stay healthy, I'm going to just enjoy the next, hopefully 10, 15, whatever years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a question that I ask everyone when we talk about building dreams together, the name of this podcast, the name of this goal, this dream that I'm living right now. When I say those words, what does that mean?
Well, to me, I mean, I guess it goes back to what we've been talking about. I mean, I'm building dreams with these kids and also handicapped folks. And, you know, my dream is, like we've been talking about, is getting the reward of seeing your dreams come true, and it enriches my life by seeing it. That's about how I would phrase it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, any questions that you want to ask me?
Wow. Yeah. I hadn't thought of that. But I could probably come up with something here pretty quick. So tell me about in Brooklyn. You grew up a mile or two away from me. We come from similar backgrounds. How did you get started as an entrepreneur?
Ooh, you know, we talked about education. I was a high school dropout.
Right.
My dad, well, I didn't choose to drop out, although I guess I did for the way I behaved.
Yeah.
I wasn't behaving. I was a wild kid. I also got involved with marijuana back then.
Yeah.
Was cutting school. So my dad took me out and put me to work.
Okay.
And he taught me good work ethics,
Mm-hmm.
you know, showing up every day and
Yeah.
how to do things and how to listen to people. And I became, I guess, a good salesperson.
Okay. Yeah. You already still are. Yeah.
I you know, because I'm able to hear what people want.
Right.
And you just give them what they want.
Right.
Give people what they want, and,
Yeah.
you know, they'll listen. And so I remember in the store selling a vase, $100 vase back then.
Wow.
It's a long
Pricey
time
back
ago.
then.
Pricey back then. As a crystal vase, selling that vase to some woman. And at that moment, I said, you're destined for something greater than this.
Wow.
You are definitely destined for something greater.
Yeah.
Because you have a gift of connection.
Yeah.
So that was back in my mid-teens.
Yeah.
That I had that experience. It took many years to get to where I am.
Yeah.
But that moment stands out, and that's when I had a knack for, like I said, knowing what people wanted. And we only had a small 700 square foot novelty shop back in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And my dad would take me to the trade shows.
Yeah.
And he would indulge me. I'd say, you know, we can buy something here. I've already done a podcast on this story.
Oh, okay.
But I'll do it quickly here. And long story short is I had a knack for what people wanted, and we bought them, and I grew that 700 square foot store into a 10,000 square foot store, selling all home goods, everything that you needed for a home.
On what avenue or where were you?
This was on Steinway Street in New York, in Queens.
In Queens. Okay.
Queens,
Yeah.
Steinway Street in Queens.
Okay.
And it was a vertical building. It was 3 stories.
Okay.
So it wasn't 10,000 square feet on one. It was 5 on one and 5 on the second. And then 5, actually it was bigger than that, because I think it was 5 on the the third floor, which was
Yeah.
a warehouse in the basement,
Okay.
but
you get it.
that's how I hurt my back, carrying all these boxes
Okay.
up and down.
But then you got into a restaurant business.
Then I got into, I moved at some point. I made my first real estate purchase, which was the building that we were in.
Yeah.
That's a story by itself
Yeah.
that I'm not going to get into
Yeah.
today. But I made that purchase of the building. I moved out of it, and a tenant came in, and it gave me the opportunity to move across country to Colorado.
Okay.
And in Colorado, I got into the restaurant business.
Oh, okay. You didn't do a pizza thing back in New York?
No, nothing
Oh,
like
okay,
that
okay.
at all. Nothing. I
Okay.
was in the retail
Yeah,
and the
okay.
home goods. And then when I got to Colorado, I opened up with my sister. It was
Yeah.
my sister friend that opened it, Gindy's Pizzeria, and I realized that wasn't my career, and I got involved in the real estate world.
Right.
I became a real estate broker.
Yeah.
And as a broker, I was very successful right out of the gate, first year. And that's when I realized I needed to do something bigger because I didn't want to be at the whim of other people.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be in control. So, as a broker, buyers and sellers get into fights over things that I would never
Yeah.
fight over. On a $1 million piece of property,
Yeah.
they're arguing over $5,000.
Right,
I mean, I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
just can't.
Yeah.
This is like stupid stuff to me.
Yeah.
And I don't. So I became the buyer.
Okay.
I started syndicating deals and worked my way up and built a real estate company.
Yeah.
And then to lose it, go bankrupt
Right.
at 53 years old. I lost
I
everything.
remember that saga, and
Yeah.
we'll have to talk about
Yeah,
that. But I remember when you were going through that. And if I'm correct, just from family connections, it was a really, really troubling time in your life in more ways than financially,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it got pretty
It got
dark.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It did. It definitely did.
So we both recovered from those periods. Like,
We recovered.
yeah.
We recovered.
Yeah.
And, and I'm going through the biggest recovery of my life right now with Sean passing last
Right.
year. And here we are.
Yeah.
It's a year ago, and we're in his place
Yeah.
doing this podcast, and this place is dedicated to him.
Yeah.
This is the I Believe in Me Foundation's home,
That's
and
amazing.
it's for him.
Yeah.
And I know he's looking at us, smiling and saying, "Way to
No,
go,
he's-
guys!" Because you knew Sean.
Yeah.
And he's saying, "Way to go, guys!"
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
He's loving this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me today on Building Dreams Together. If today's conversation inspired you, like it, subscribe, and share it with someone you love. Let's keep building connection and possibility, one dream at a time. To learn more about our work and our programs, visit BelieveBecomeBU.com. Until the next time, keep believing, keep becoming, and let's keep building our dreams together.